We have in the studio with us today somebody that I know you already know, but Dr. Avril Stinson. She's looking at me. She's like, I am not a doctor. Why not? We just had a doctor in the chair. You can be anything you want to be on this show. Come on in.
Maybe you're speaking it into existence.
I think we are speaking it into existence today. This is perfect because, even though it's September 1st, the whole point of last month was Black Business Month. And so we've had a lot of people, as you've heard on the show every week, if you listen, that are entrepreneurs, that have their own businesses, that are starting their own businesses. And, of course, the CDC has helped a lot of Black businesses get started in our area. But Dr. Stinson, I'm just...
You're more than welcome to call me that, Ed. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. In the studio with us is Avril Stinson. Avril, we appreciate you taking the time to get up so early to come over here to the studio to be with us. Folks that may not be familiar with you, you are the Vice President of Economic Inclusion and Leadership Development with the Tampa Bay Chamber.
I sure am.
That's a whole mouthful.
Right?
It is.
Yes.
But a lot of times people think of the chamber and they think high-level businesses, these big conglomerate companies, and they're not thinking there's a place for small businesses and specifically minority businesses with the chambers. And your title says differently.
Absolutely, it does. The chamber is open and welcome to anybody. And what drew me to my position specifically was watching the work being accomplished by yourself and others within the community that drew me into saying, you know what, I am here for businesses to serve in every single way that I can. So I started out in economic development and found myself at the chamber about 10 years later.
Has it been that long?
It's been about that long. Yeah.
Get out of here. So wait, let's go back. You said, found yourself here at the chamber. Where were you before that? And before that?
And before
that? And before that?
And before that. So I'm a South Florida girl. Grew up in Palm Beach County. Went to University of Florida, go Gators.
No, not on this show. We don't. We're not, only place they need to go is out of here. No,
wow.
This is Bulls country. We got to represent the Bulls. Okay,
I bleed orange and blue. I'm sorry, but I do love USF. And if I do go back for my doctorate, perhaps maybe there.
And St. Leo.
Oh, and St. Leo.
And the University of Tampa. That's in all our great universities in the area.
You have options.
I have options.
All right.
Lots of options.
All right, we didn't mean to throw you off.
But no, sorry.
Palm Beach County.
I digress. So, Palm Beach County, South Florida girl, went to University of Florida. Loved school so much. I studied public relations and then decided, you know what, I'm going to stay in school for grad school for a little bit longer because college is awesome.
So I studied
college student affairs, which is actually underneath the counseling department. So I wound up with my master's in counseling, and that is a degree I use every single day, even though I never practiced. Wound up in Sarasota after that, and then lovely, beautiful beaches, but at about 22 years old, brand new married, not so much. So when Tampa had some opportunities available, we moved up here, and I haven't looked back. Love Tampa, love the Tampa Bay region.
Well, you've been involved in so much when it comes down to economic development and specifically entrepreneurs. At some point in time, you were with Tampa Bay Wave, and they just celebrated an anniversary recently in the marketplace.
They did. And prior to that, I was with the EDC. So I really love my story. I re-entered the workforce about 10 years ago, like I said, 10, 12 years ago. And I really loved working with the larger corporations. It seemed really exciting. It was my first foray into the workforce. I had been home with my kids for the first handful of years, almost 8 years, and decided that, you know what, this was the route that I wanted to go into, and decided helping businesses and helping others came naturally as a passion, and I leaned into that. And then somehow being a fundraiser at heart and raising money for my kids' schools transferred into I can also raise money for organizations, and that's where it all came together. So I was Director of Investor Relations at the Economic Development Council, and then Director of Investor Relations over at Tampa Bay Wave, which is a technology accelerator.
I mean, that's an incredible background. When people talk about economic development, again, they think big. They're thinking large corporations, and they don't realize Tampa Bay Wave, for example, was founded with people who just had ideas, right?
Absolutely. It started as a meetup group about 15 years ago, and they took it and turned it into a full-fledged organization that now supports hundreds of entrepreneurs and tech startups, millions of dollars of grant funding. I mean, we've seen a lot of success and a lot of growth in our entrepreneurial ecosystem because of organizations like Tampa Bay Wave, which Tampa Bay Chamber partners with, and we find a lot of success in serving others.
Whoa. We're going to come back here. We're about to take a break. And I want you to stop there. And we're going to come in and we're going to talk a little bit more about some of your experiences, right? So we talked about the wave a little bit. Then you went to the EDC. I want to hear about how the Economic Development Corporation helped you prepare for the role that you're in now with the Tampa Bay Chamber. Because to me, they're very connected. But we've got to take this break in order to pay the bills. So we will be right back with Front Page Tampa Bay with Ed Narain on 101.5 The Vibe, Tampa Bay's only R&B.
Now back to the show about you. Front Page Tampa Bay with Ed Narain on 101.5 The Vibe.
And we are back on Front Page Tampa Bay with Ed Narain on 101.5 The Vibe, Tampa Bay's only R&B. In the studio with us this morning is Avril Stinson, the future Dr. Avril Stinson with the Tampa Bay Chamber, Vice President of Economic Inclusion and Leadership Development. And so before we went to break, I said, look, you've got these great experiences. You started out working with Tampa Bay Wave. Then you transitioned over to the Economic Development Corporation with my buddy Craig Richard over there. And now you are at the Tampa Bay Chamber. And I said those prior experiences, I believe, prepared you for the one that you are in now. All the way back to the PTA when you were raising money for the kids in the school, right?
Absolutely, 1,000%. Tampa's a small town to a degree, so everybody knows everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we're only 3 degrees of separation.
Maybe.
And so then I realized that everybody that my kids went to school with, I was starting to wander around and work with in the workforce as well. So it really helped me kind of get involved and engaged, and it was easy to talk to people, learning what they needed as business owners or leaders within their organizations, and that helped me fulfill a lot of particular duties when it came to fundraising and then programming. And so over at Tampa Bay Wave, I could marry the fundraising along with the programmatic pieces, because when you have grants and different funders that are looking for things that are specific to what they're interested in helping these entrepreneurs solve as problems, you want to make sure that you're staying compliant so they continue to fund you. So I took that piece and the fundraising piece and came over to the chamber and started on the Minority Business Accelerator in its 3rd year. So I was really excited to take over that.
Yeah, and it's a smashing success, if we can point that out. Thanks
you.
to your leadership.
I appreciate that. I was given a great baseline to start with those first 2 years. And then last year we're actually on the world stage. We are an internationally recognized program for the Accelerator. And we were the second U.S. chamber to present at the World Congress Chambers last year for our innovation project. So really excited about this accelerator. It is, the size has taken off. We started, back in 2015, as the chamber, decided, look, it's time for our membership to look like the business community at large. And so they were really intentional with focusing on how do we make that happen, and then how do we support those businesses that don't normally have chamber exposure. So that's where it all came from. In 2015, they did an economic study and found out where the glaring gaps were, and Black and Hispanic-owned businesses were the ones that were the most underserved. So they made specific choices to set up this accelerator 2-year accelerator program to help businesses, Black and Hispanic-owned businesses, scale and grow.
I am curious. You're such a humble person, so I kind of almost know what the answer is going to be. But you are one of the few people in the area who can pinpoint. You can go around town, you can look at a list of businesses in a directory, and you can actually pinpoint how those businesses got started. Personally some of the founders and directors in those organizations. Talk to me about what it's like being in that position where you can directly connect yourself to some of the successful businesses in the area?
It's an incredible feeling. I mean, following Dr. Johnson in his segment and hearing him say about how he likes to wake up every morning and help people, that is literally my mantra. I love helping people. And so working with some of the business leaders in this community, everybody from a person with an idea who's deciding whether or not they want to leave their job and have a startup, or if they want to purchase an existing company and, go into entrepreneurship by acquisition, or they've been in business for 15 years and they feel stuck and they want to go someplace else with their business or pivot. I'm there for it. And watching, my mom will call me up sometimes and she'll see somebody on the news and she'll say, I saw this business and they were talking and they said the chamber. And I'll say, Mom, that was me. I helped them get there. And I provide resources for the community, and I love connecting people. And I'm always tired, but yet tireless. So I'm always trying to help make sure that I'm getting the businesses the resources that they need and connecting people with what they need.
No, that's awesome. And you've been recognized heavily for that work. I mean, you were a Businesswoman of the Year honoree by the Tampa Bay Business Journal a couple years ago in 2022. And then you were recognized by the National Coalition of 100 Black Women here in the area for your leadership, one of their passing the torch leaders in public policy and community activism. And I think most significantly, you were named Businesswoman of the Year in Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion by Tampa Bay Business and Wealth magazine just last year. So,
yes.
It pays
I'm blushing.
to be behind the
I'm
scenes,
blushing.
right? Oh, you're like, we didn't know that you knew that.
And listen, you see how you had to run that list down because she's just
She'll
not
never
going
say
to.
it.
I would
not
never.
Gonna do
I'm
it.
sorry.
She's not gonna
I'll
do it.
never say it. But I'm here to talk about my company.
Yes,
so
but you're
so
a really big
excited.
deal. We just want to let everybody know,
But people hear Minority Business Accelerator, right? So what exactly is the Minority Business Accelerator that the Chamber started? And I remember it was Ron Cristaldi, Demetra Simmons having conversations about starting it up. And here we are years later, and we've had so many businesses come through. I mean, what is MBA? What is the MBA program?
So it's the Minority Business Accelerator. We've served over 35 companies. We've helped them scale and grow, become more sustainable. If they've had any issues, we've helped wrap resources around them. We go through everything from strategic planning to bankability to, okay, we want to buy property. What are the different resources we need? And I really focus on, as we develop the curriculum year over year, there's certain things that always stick, right? We're always going to do accounting. We're always going to cover legal. We're always going to cover marketing, PR, those types of things, operational pieces as well. But we survey our participants after each session also. So we have about 8 sessions a year, and plus everything else that the Chamber offers. So it's a really comprehensive program. But, there might be things that pop up that people don't know, cybersecurity issues or opportunities to who knows what, right? Whatever it is, everybody knows they can call me or message me, and I'm there for it. And my team's there and the Chamber's there to support. So we've pivoted from, we used to have a lot of construction companies, which I love being in the Accelerator program because they understood what it meant going a lot of times with that subprime relationship. And we had some professional services, I think, that were kind of watching to see what the Accelerator would do. Tech companies, they bounce from accelerator to accelerator. So they're all over the place, right? They know, they understand the systems, they know how to work it, and each piece they get education and learn how to update whatever it is they need for their business. But when it comes down to some other professional services, now we have an insurance agency, we have a law firm, we have 2 or 3 cybersecurity companies. So companies that wouldn't necessarily look to us for assistance in the past understand that the Accelerator truly is there to help them scale, build their business capacity, and take their business in any direction that they want to go in.
Well, what about if I'm the owner of like a cleaning company, a small cleaning company, or if I have a small catering business and I'm interested, is that that program something that I could benefit from as well?
So if you're a smaller company, what we have is the Minority Empowerment Program, which is a membership function of the chamber that does not have the requirements and the economic thresholds that the Minority Business Accelerator does. So the application's online for the Minority Empowerment Program. You can be a startup or a small business, still apply, and then the sponsors, our chamber members, are very generous and they provide. Thank you, Ed Narain, for starting the program. But the Minority Empowerment Program was started a few years back in 2020, and it's been extremely successful as well. And we've had some companies that have actually grown through MEP and applied and gotten into the MBA program.
So we can start on the outside, come into the organization, then move into the MBA program, and then who knows?
And then the sky's
right?
the limit. You also have to watch what you say around me because I'm always recruiting companies, subject matter experts, businesses, chamber members. Even if it's not the chamber and it's a different type of need that you have, I'm always connecting people. So I just like to know what's going on, my finger on the pulse, because I want to be able to help people when they need it.
So what do you get? I mean, you join one of the programs, you come in, let's say for the Minority Business Accelerator, and what are you providing me? What are you helping my business do?
Absolutely. So we are providing 8 to 10 educational sessions based on what businesses are needing at the time for them to scale, grow, become more bankable, sustainability. That's what we focus on. You also get a financial mentor that reviews your books with you, helps. A lot of times people's back office isn't necessarily very clean. Their uncle's cousin's brother might be doing their accounting and some legal work. We streamline all that into some real resources so that way people get help. And then again, it's always important for you to know your numbers, which is why the financial mentor is so important, because without that, you can't forecast. You don't know what you're working with. How do you adjust your contracts, your rates, your negotiations? Mm-hmm. So financial mentorship is extremely important. And then we also have small group mentoring as well.
So what's the length of time of the program?
So the program lasts 2 years. Okay. So it takes that 2 years.
I was just going to say, sounds pretty intense.
It is, because you also get a Fit 3 membership, chamber membership. So there's all of the chamber's activities, because really I'm looking holistically at a business owner, right? We want your business to be shored up so that way you're successful, but you're also a business and community leader and part of the chamber. So we have all types of committees that you can be a part of. We have Leadership Tampa that you can apply for. We also have, I'm always recruiting again I need a chair each year, right? We start a new cohort every year for the program. So we're always looking for somebody who can lean in that way. And then there's future board seats, future leadership. I'm out here trying to get our Black and brown businesses that are in this program around tables, creating tables, and making sure that they understand that they are a part of this business community and all businesses are welcome and supported.
So share with us, if you can, one of your, I know you have many to choose from, one of your success stories. One of the businesses that has gone through the program, they've graduated, and they've just skyrocketed.
Sure. This one's one of my favorites. Here,
let me see.
She's
Ashley
got a prep.
Butler.
I know, right? I didn't want to throw out
I
any
knew
names.
that's where she was going.
I didn't want to throw out any names.
Or Gerald McCann.
I wanted her to give us.
Or Ducon.
I wanted her to give
There's
us
all these
names.
businesses.
There's so many, but
Premier Choice
say.
Crew.
Okay, you're killing me. I love all of you. I love all of my businesses and all of those that I have yet to work with, and I will tell you how you can work with me. But right now, I'd say one of my most fun success stories is with Ashley Butler and Ice Cold Air, and that's only because when I was actually at Tampa Bay Wave, I met her at USF through the Black Leadership Network. I went to go source interns for Tampa Bay Wave and get involved there. She was there as well. We started talking, Fast forward, because God and the universe is funny like this. Fast forward a handful of months, and I'm sitting there, and she at the chamber for interview processes for the Minority Business Accelerator. I had accepted the position, and she walks in, and I'm like, "Hey, you look so familiar." And she's like, "You look familiar too." Fast forward, she's in the program. She owns one shop. She goes through her 2 years. She takes advantage of every single resource possible. She comes to everything. She makes the extra phone calls. She implements what she learns, which is super important, because I can have you in a classroom and in sessions and talking to people, but unless you implement it, nothing happens. She implemented. She went above and beyond and did even more. She's the chair of the alumni group for the MBA.
Nice.
And now she is the franchisor. So she went from one Ice Cold Air to being the owner of all of Ice Cold Air. And I am just thrilled for her success, all of her hard work, and then what she gives back to others and recruiting and to the program. I mean, it's incredible. And her employees are so happy as well.
So Ashley is one of those salt of the earth people. She's a founder, along with Andrew Frazier and Jerry Bell and myself, of the USF Black Leadership Network. And we put a scholarship program out there back in 2016 that has now turned into an annual 50 student a year scholarship program with the help of the Helios Foundation. So that she was one of the day ones that helped us get that started. And so seeing her rise through the chamber, through the MBA program, has been incredible. We've got to get her in here to kind of talk a little bit about that.
Oh, definitely.
Because people don't think,
Yeah,
they don't think black women when they think automotive.
right. And she's totally flipped that on its
Oh,
head.
man.
Yeah.
You go down Dale Mabry and you see the sign there on South Dale Mabry, and it has some, fancy slogan of the day. That's Ashley Butler's place at Ice Cold Air. So we're giving you a free plug, Ashley.
Which is actually how I met her.
Really?
Yeah, she was my mechanic. So,
Wow.
Of course, when I
love
go to when I go to one of the luncheons, I'm like, Ashley. She's like, hey, I'm like, what do you do? Oh, yeah. It was really great to make that connection.
And Avril, you were one of the speakers for the Black Leadership
I
Network
was.
soiree a couple
I
years
spoke
ago.
at graduation, or their graduation. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Now, I have a question for you, because I should have known this program a long time ago, because around 14, 15 years ago, I did, a small business, buying, selling video games, and I wanted to increase it and do more, but I didn't know where to go. I screwed up on my books, and that took me a little while to wriggle out of. But how did... what can we do to get in? I shut down my business in 2020, so that's all said and done. But for the other people, how can they get into this?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, visit Tampa Bay Chamber's website. Go to the Minority Business Accelerator tab. You'll find the application, and the Accelerator program is for Black and Hispanic-owned businesses that have been in business for at least 3 years, are located or headquartered in Hillsborough County or any of the contiguous counties. So Pinellas, Manatee, Pasco, Polk, and am I missing one? Did I get everybody? I think I got everybody.
I think we got everybody.
I think
We got enough
the
of
Tampa
everybody,
Bay
yeah.
region.
Yeah.
It's all on the website. And then they have to have $500,000 in gross revenues or above,
Whoa.
because we are looking to scale.
Hold on.
It's
What?
not for startups.
Right.
It's scaling. But we're here for it. So if anybody has any questions, they can look on the website and reach out to me.
But what if they don't have $500,000? Where could we?
No,
what could we do?
Not five. They don't have to have 500,000. They have to
Just
have
the sales.
$500,000
Gross.
worth of revenue.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's the part that I think a lot of people see that on the website and they think, oh, that's a lot of money. It is, but it isn't if you're in business.
Exactly.
Believe it or not, that money passing through your registers counts towards your overall gross revenue. So a lot of businesses are doing that much and they don't realize it. Am I wrong?
Yes, no, you're absolutely right. I've sat down with so many people and they're like, I'm not quite there yet. And I said, well, let's take a look at your numbers.
Know your numbers.
Know
Know your
your
numbers.
numbers.
I mean, people see food trucks and they think, oh, that's nice. They're making a living. They are passing through lots of money every single year. So $500,000 in revenue sounds like a lot, but it's really not when you consider all the payments that you're making, the employees that you're paying, the taxes. It is not that high of a threshold.
And people hit there before they realize
Uh-huh.
it. Before they realize it. But if they have any, so with our ecosystem here in Tampa, we have so many organizations that are here to support small business. And I try and make sure that we work with as many as possible because we're all feeders into each other. So, the CDC has entrepreneurial support networks. And then, of course, we have, I mentioned Tampa Bay Wave and Embark Collective when it comes to technology. And then there's the Women's Business Center, there's the ECC, there's the SBDC. So there's a ton of resources out there. And then we all try and communicate with each other. So that way you kind of have a little roadmap of, I've hit this threshold, so now it's time for me to go to this next program. Okay, so now my revenues are around maybe 250, 300. Who should I talk to next to kind of get me over that hump? And so we really want to have the conversation so that way we know where to send people for the support. But the biggest thing is implementation. We can't help unless the business
everything to
owner is,
Or my case, not
Or
even
even
knowing the
knowing about
program,
it.
because
Yeah.
I didn't network. That's the thing. I was like, oh, I could do this, and kind of did, but I could have been a lot better though.
Yeah.
networking's important.
I'm curious because you've been doing this for a while now. What have you noticed that's changed over some time? I think for me, and of course I'm on the outside looking in, it appears there's a lot more opportunity than there was even just 5 years ago before the pandemic. I could be wrong. But it seems like there's a lot of resources and opportunities being directed towards getting more minority businesses on the right track. So I'm just curious, you've seen a shift as well, or?
I have seen a shift. I've seen a shift just to support small business more in general, but definitely minority-owned businesses because we're such a population that's specialized with needs that haven't been met in so long. So we don't have the resources to and you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't have the exposure to know to go to the bank with the right paperwork, or you don't know which organization to go to help you write the business plan, those are the little things. You just think, hey, I'm going to start a business. I'm really good at doing X. And you can do that, but you also have to run the business because if you're not running a business and you do X really well, then that's a hobby.
Well, Avril, thank you very much for coming in this early in the morning to talk about the MBA, the MEP, the Tampa Bay Chamber, and all the great work that you're doing there. We're at the very end of Black Business Month, and so I think information is important. You have a deadline coming up for anybody that wants to apply, right? What is it?
I sure do. September 18th at 5 p.m. is the deadline for cohort 2026, which will start January of 2025.
And they can find that application where?
At tampabaychamber.com.
All right, folks, you heard it. You've got a business out there. You're looking to scale up. You're looking to just get started. You just need some information. Don't call me. Don't call Kenya, but go to the Tampa Bay Chamber's website. Look up the Minority Business Accelerator program. Look up the Minority Enterprise program, and the resources are there. Avril, thanks again for coming on. You're listening to Front
Dr.
Page
Stinson,
Tampa.
sorry.
Oh, Dr. Stinson. That's right. I forgot.
We are speaking it
Into existence. There we go. You're listening to 101.5 The Vibe, Tampa Bay's only R&B.